I grew up in a neighborhood where dreams felt like a luxury. Most of the kids around me left school early to work small jobs and support their families. My father was a simple bus driver, leaving home before sunrise and coming back late, exhausted. My mother worked as a seamstress, sitting for hours under a dim bulb, sewing clothes to earn a few extra coins. Our house was small, just 2 rooms and a kitchen, but it was filled with love. My parents never complained about their hardships in front of me, but I noticed things. I noticed how my father's shoes had holes in them, how my mother's fingers were rough and bruised from sewing, how sometimes they would pretend they weren't hungry just so I could have a little more to eat. One day, when I was about 10, I woke up in the middle of the night to get water and heard my parents talking in low voices. My mother was holding my school fee notice, tears in her eyes. "We can delay it for a month," she said softly. But my father shook his head. "No, if we stop his education even once, we might never start again." I'll work an extra shift. That night, lying in bed, made a promise to myself I would not let their sacrifices go to waste. From that day on, I changed. While other kids played cricket in the streets, I stayed home and studied. I didn't have a table, so I studied sitting on the floor. When the power went out, I studied under the flickering light of a candle. My friends used to laugh at me, saying, "Why study so much? Life will always be the same here." But deep down, I believed that education was my way out. When I reached high school, things became tougher. My father fell sick because of overwork. The doctor said he needed rest, but rest meant no salary. My mother started sewing more clothes at night to make up for it. Watching them struggle broke my heart, but it also gave me more strength. I started tutoring kids in the neighborhood to earn a few rupees. It wasn't much, but it paid for my books and notebooks. Finally, the time came for my board exams. I worked harder than ever, studying late into the night. On the day of my results, I walked nervously to the school notice board. When I saw my roll number at the top of the list, I couldn't believe my eyes. I ran home and showed the result to my parents. My father's eyes filled with tears. "You did it, son," he said, hugging me tightly. "You are going to change our lives." My good grades got me a scholarship for college. Leaving home was the hardest thing I had ever done. My parents came to drop me off at the hostel. My mother hugged me and said, "Remember why you started?" My father simply said, "Make us proud." Life in the city was difficult. I shared a small room with 2 other students, survived on cheap food, and worked part-time in a library. There were days when I cried silently, thinking about giving up, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw my father's tired face and my mother's rough hands, and I kept going. After years of hard work, sleepless nights, and countless sacrifices, I finally graduated. On convocation day, when I walked on stage to receive my degree, I saw my parents sitting in the front row. My father had tears in his eyes, and my mother was smiling the biggest smile I had ever seen. Soon after, I got my first job. The first salary I earned, I didn't spend a single rupee on myself. I bought my parents new clothes and a proper dining table so that for the first time in our lives, we could sit together and eat comfortably. But that was just the beginning. I worked harder, saved money, and after 2 years, I gave my parents the biggest surprise of their lives, a brand new house. A house with big windows, clean walls, and a small garden where my mother could grow flowers. When I handed them the keys, my father just stood silently for a moment. Then he hugged me and whispered, "You made my dream come true." Today, we live in that house. Every evening, when we sit together for tea in the garden, I look at my parents and think about how far we have come. This is what success means to me. Not just money, not just a good job, but being able to give back to the people who gave up everything for me.